Hey guys! So today I'm going to be making the bunny ears for my Judy cosplay, and I thought I would film it and show you guys how I made them. So these are the materials I'm going to be using. For the inside of the ear I used this faux suede. For the outside of the ear I used gray fur. And then to stiffen the ears I used buckram. I also used 3 different colors of fabric paint in pink, black, and white. And then black and pink thread. So the first thing I did was I measured out the faux suede fabric to the dimensions that I wanted my ears. So I chose 9 inches by 4.5 inches. I cut the faux suede out a little bit bigger just to add some seam allowance. Next, I took the pink fabric paint and painted over top of the faux suede. This kind of gave it more of a skin-like texture and also helped to stiffen it a little bit. The inside of Judy's ears have a pink to white gradient, so in order to get this effect, I painted the top of the fabric with white fabric paint and then blended it in the middle. Next, I cut out the buckram for the inside of the ears. I cut this out at exactly 4.5 inches by 9 inches with a curve at the top. Next, I cut out a curve at the top of the faux suede, just a little bit bigger than the buckram. Next was the very tough process of sewing the faux suede onto the buckram. I did this using a very simple running stitch. I've sewn the pink onto the buckram. I've cut in these little tabs along the curved edge so I can now fold them over and hot glue them into place. So I'm going to put the hot glue on the buckram in small sections at a time so that it doesn't cool down. And then fold them over. There we go, and I'm going to do that all the way around and I'll come back to you in a second. And here we are, I've got them both hot glued on. So the next step is going to be to sew the fur onto the front. Using a craft knife, I cut a curve into the fur fabric using the pink inner ear as a template. Once I got to the end of where the ear curved, I then cut straight across. Using a craft knife to cut fur fabrics is really useful because it stops you cutting through the pile. This helps to keep your fur super fluffy. Next, I sewed the fur fabric onto the inner ear. What really helped for this bit was to only try and sew through the pink faux suede, because trying to sew through the buckram is really difficult and would have taken a lot longer. Once I'd finished sewing up to the curve, I then cut out a piece of fur fabric to go at the top of the ear. How I did this was I traced off the top of the ear and then added about 1 inch depth so that the fur would extend down the ear about 1 inch. Once I'd made sure that it fit, I then sewed this new piece of fur onto the top of the ear. Judy's ears have black tips, so I used black fabric paint to get this effect. Next, I traced around the bottom of the ears onto buckram to get the shape for the base. Next, using some thicker thread, I sewed the base on to the bottom of the ear. I then cut 2 rectangular pieces of fur. This part isn't really an exact science, it all depends on how big the base of your ear is. All we're trying to do is create a tiny little pouch for the base to go into. I sewed these 2 pieces together with the fur going in opposite directions. I made sure that these fit over the bottom of the ear with about ½ inch overlap either side. I then cut in tabs about 1 centimeter wide, down to about 1 centimeter before where the stitch line is between the 2 furs. Then I stitched up the sides to make my pouch. Next, I put the pouch on the bottom of the ear and cut off some of the excess fur. And finally, I just sewed the pouch on to the bottom of the ears. They're done! Yay! So that's part 1 of my Judy Hopps cosplay finished. I'm actually going to sew these directly onto the wig so that they stay standing up. Now I've just got to make the rest of the costume, but I'll make sure to keep you guys updated through some more videos in the future. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. Let me know if you liked this tutorial video. This is my first one. I hope you guys are having a good one, and see ya!